Now I give the floor to our friend and colleague, Mr. Scott Ritter, former the person serving in reconnaissance, serving in special forces, and also member of the group of the United Nations on the armaments in Iraq. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Uh, Good morning. At least it's morning my time. Good afternoon your time. Thank you very much for inviting me to this forum. I've been asked to speak briefly on the topic of traditional values and patriotism, and to focus on the ideological basis for mobilizing societies against modern threats. I'll start with some fundamental concepts. True patriotism is derived from the traditional values of a national collective. So, for instance, if you're going to call yourself a Russian patriot or a Belarusian patriot, you define your patriotism on the values of Russia and Belarus. Um, in this manner, when you speak of mobilizing a society when faced with a threat to traditional values, mobilization should be automatic. It's a patriotic duty. You're defending that which you stand for. And the case study of this example is easy to pick through history. The example of the Soviet Union responding to the perfidy of Nazi Germany is one such case study. But what happens when, because the topic speaks of modern threats, what happens if the threat emanates from inside as opposed to outside? And today we have a case study that's unfortunately drawn from current events. On this, the anniversary of the perfidy of Nazi Germany against the Soviet Union, the assault on the Brest Fortress, we have the case of American perfidy against Iran. We have an American president who appealed to traditional American values to get elected, and he's now appealing to the patriotism of the same Americans who elected him to mobilize behind him in support of a war against Iran, a war that violates every principle and value that American patriots, true American patriots, hold dear. So we're faced with a conundrum here in the United States. And I apologize for thrusting this upon you, but this is a very terrible event that has happened. And as an American patriot, I am appalled by the new threat that has emerged to my country from within. We're told that there's a threat from without. We're told there's a threat from Iran that is worthy of military intervention, but this is a manufactured threat. The United States as a nation, as you well know, historically was behind the creation of the United Nations. And it's the Charter of the United Nations that serves as the foundation of international law for a civilized world to peacefully coexist. The United States, in attacking Iran, has violated the very principles of this charter, namely that war shall only be done in self-defense. There was no logical reason for the United States to attack Iran. Moreover, the United States, together with Russia and other nations, have embraced policies that speak of nuclear non-proliferation. And we are supposed to be working as a collective to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons. And yet, in this attack, the United States has shredded every notion of nuclear nonproliferation. The United States, as it currently has been manifested, no longer stands for the values, the traditional values that define American patriotism. So the question is now, how do you mobilize against this modern threat when the mobilization has to take place within your own society? And sadly, that is a question that the American people today must wrestle with. Maybe we can draw upon the example of the Soviet Union, the Soviet citizens who mobilized against Nazi Germany. But the problem is the threat today doesn't come from without, but from within. And I'm going to have to leave it there because it's a very tragic day for me as an American, as my nation has gone to war. But thank you again for allowing me to speak to you. And I I hope the whole world draws strength from the example of the Brest Fortress and standing up against perfidy from abroad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ritter.